We'll talk about how you doing? Good. But I will revisit.
I'm attorney Kate Harris. Madam Attorney Kate Harris. Hey, everybody got quiet. We still got a little bit more time.
He's not in office. Don't say that. Yeah.
Y'all, before we get started, I didn't know we were gonna have celebrities in the house. Not you, Ron.
Wait until the counseling starts, so they can be live stream so people can know.
Glad to see y'all.
Wait to me. Wait, hey. But I am celebrity.
Hey. Now, Attorney, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. All right, everybody, we try to let the bells go. Sometimes they go for an extended period, and sometimes they get quiet like they are tonight. They must know we got company tonight. All right. All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Today is Monday, December 9th, 2024. This is the City of Camilla Council meeting. We are here on the first floor here at City Hall. And at this time, I'd like to turn to our Assistant City Manager and City Clerk, Cheryl Ford, to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Vereen, here. Councilman Barley,
Here.
Councilman Morgan,
Here.
Councilman Collins,
Here.
Councilman Maples,
Here.
and Councilman Thompson.
Here.
All right, thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Council. At this time, will you please join me in prayer? Father, I come to you tonight with a simple prayer. Father, bless all of the hearts that are sitting around this dais. Bless the citizens and visitors that are in our gallery. Father, bless every citizen of this town. And Father, if you don't mind, can you please bless our city? In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. All right, at this time, Council, is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight? So moved. Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. At this time, Council, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th, 2024 council meeting? So moved. Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Council, at this time, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the November 4th, 2024 work session? So moved. Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And finally, Council, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the November 11th, 2024 council meeting? So moved. Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. And Council, at this time, I would like to invite Mr. Gaddis from the Department of Community Affairs here from the state of Georgia. He's here with a little news for us. And Mr. Gaddis, if you don't mind, you hit that button, see if it's green for you. Check. There you go. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name is Daniel Gaddis. I am the Planning and Outreach Coordinator for the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. It brings me great pleasure to come before this body tonight in my capacity to let you all know of your Plan First designation that will be awarded January 1st, 2025. On behalf of the Department of Community Affairs, congratulations to the City of Camilla, its elected body, its residents, for receiving the Plan First designation, making your community one of only 8 communities in the state to achieve this designation for the 2025 through 2027 timeframe. This application period was particularly competitive as we received 20 applications with over 60 local governments around the state checking their eligibility. This Plan First designation will last for 3 years, and it recognizes specifically the hard work of your comprehensive plan and acknowledges your community's commitment to identifying opportunities and setting goals to move the city of Camilla forward. Since the Plan First program's inception in 2015, the Department of Community Affairs established a way of highlighting exemplary communities' work on implementing their comprehensive plan while effectively engaging their public. For those that may not know, a comprehensive plan is a guiding, long-range document that communities use to ensure that future development occurs where, when, and how your community and local government wants. As a Plan First designee starting in 2025, benefits are available to your community in the form of several financial incentives to help your community meet its goals of improving housing, infrastructure, and economic development. Some examples of these benefits include a reduced interest rate on certain Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, GEFA loans. This benefit has helped some Plan First communities save $300,000 on GEFA loans in the past. Additionally, you now have access to 3 bonus points on CHIP applications, Community Home Investment Program, which is a federally funded program that provides funds to city governments, public housing authorities, and nonprofits to rehabilitate owner-occupied homes and to build and renovate affordable single-family homes for sale to eligible home buyers. Additionally, you now have access to 3 bonus points on housing tax credit, also known as LIHTC, with an approved revitalization plan, and others like free access to Community Planning Institute for up to 2 attendees per cycle. This application to become a Plan First community is stringent, and the reviewers hold these communities to a very high standard. All applications are reviewed by an internal DCA team and are also reviewed by the other applicant communities for that year. Other state agencies and organizations also provide reviews, such as GEFA, GDOT, ACCG, and GMA. Scores are tallied, and the best of the best are named. The Plan First application assesses a community through 4 overarching categories: goals, leadership, participation, and implementation. And our reviewers noted that where Camilla shined were in substantial progress in achieving and implementing your goals, vision element in your comp plan. And you provided specific examples from your comprehensive plan that showed how these goals are ambitious yet achievable for your community. Based on the application, reviewers felt that the City of Camilla's elected body, appointed bodies, and staff use the comprehensive plan in driving decision-making on a continual basis. The City of Camilla showed that they are small but mighty with their projects that were directly from their comp plan. And just a sampling of some of these projects that reviewers took note of. Funding for improvements to residential and commercial properties. Funding for utility bill and food assistance. Accessible platforms to maintain community engagement in policymaking decisions. Electrical rate adjustments. Funding for preventative health care. Tourism through a film production policy. Pay increases for city staff. Educational partnerships to ensure citizen access for GED credentials. Funding for restoration of an endangered historic nursing home. Honoring local veterans. Funding and support for arts programs. Inclement weather facilities, and funding for local nonprofits. On the topic of your planning commission, reviewers wrote, quote, robust experience on the planning commission. Another wrote, the city has an active advisory planning commission with dedicated staff. Based on the response, the applicant is grateful to have the expertise of longstanding commissioners and staff. On the topic of how your communities and goals, the vision element is used, a reviewer from a peer Plan First city said it succinctly, and I quote, aggressive and focused. One reviewer wrote, I appreciate that the applicant hires and retains great staff. They all have great credentials. Lastly, on the topic of your steering committee, which guided the comprehensive plan update process, a reviewer glowed, great steering committee attendee list. And I really appreciate the depth and breadth of experience. In closing, the Department of Community Affairs is thrilled to convey the Plan First designation here tonight to the City of Camilla. The public, staff, and leadership of this community have shown strong commitment to a successful comprehensive plan implementation. And Camilla is now recognized as a Plan First community in the state of Georgia. opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. And council, with unanimous consent, we can take a brief 5-minute break to head to the foyer, take a couple of pictures, and receive this office certificate from Mr. Gaddis and the DCA team. All right. All right, let's do it. Yes, sir. Madam Attorney, we'll be right on back.
Another adventure, so.
Yes, sir. And Council, if you're good, we are back in session. And I would be remiss prior to moving on to our speaker appearances if I didn't say, again, Mr. Gaddis, the entire DCA team, we really do appreciate you. And obviously we have an awesome planning commission here in Camilla and in this region that we work on a constant basis. And also I want to say congratulations once again to the citizens of the city for giving us the opportunity to do these types of things. And as Mr. Gaddis pointed out, some of these things have been extremely ambitious, but it's hard not to do that, or it's hard to do that when you don't have the support. And I want to say that this community supports ambition, and they have supported the vision, and we are truly appreciative of that. And I think that type of teamwork and collaboration and support from the community is what leads to tonight's like tonight. So again, thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. All right. All right. So with that, council, at this time, are there any speaker appearances? Yes, sir. There you go.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Torrey Jackson, and I'm here to talk about a business that me and my wife have, Open Entertainment. It's an art business. Actually just performed a show on yesterday entitled Winter Christmas. We really love the arts, and we're here tonight in hopes that this council will continue to support the arts here in Camilla for all the citizens that love performing the arts and have a passion about it. So that's our goal tonight. So hope that this council will help continue that going here and come up.
All right, appreciate it, Mr. Jackson. This
I was fortunate enough to attend last night, and as I said earlier, we have celebrities in the house. Ronald, Ronald was there too. But, if you, missed it, you sure did miss a fabulous show. Tiffany, you sing just beautifully, and your mama, and all your family, and it was just fabulous, it was, and I would like to support them in any way that we can, because it was one fine show, and I don't think I've ever seen that many people in the theater. It was packed, but anyway, let's give that, it was packed.
And the irony is, it was that type of conversation from the Jacksons that led to the first iteration of our arts assistance program that ironically was mentioned tonight in the presentation. So it is pretty amazing to see that come full circle, if you will. And I suspect, Tori, that that support for not only what you do, but for the arts in general here in the city will continue. So thank you for that. Yes, sir. All right. Any other speaker appearances?
That's all right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Okay. Good evening, members of the City Council of Camilla and Mr. Mayor. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Mia Burnett, and I am here to share my personal story about growing up in the library and what it means to me, as well as to thank you for your increased support at last week's meeting and to urge you to continue to find ways to help our library. From a young age, the Camilla Library has been a sanctuary for me. It was a place where I could escape into the pages of a book, explore new worlds, and learn about different cultures and histories. The library was more than just a building filled with books. It was a nurturing environment that encouraged my creativity and fostered my love for learning. I remember spending countless hours in the children's section, captivated by stories of adventure and heroism. I loved to attend the preschool hour on Thursdays to meet new friends, play with Legos, or even paint a ceiling tile. As I grew older, the library became a valuable resource for my studies and personal growth. Whether it was researching historical events, displaying my research on pollinators, or simply finding a quiet place to think, the library was always there for me. The impact of my library on my life cannot be overstated. It provided me with the tools and knowledge to succeed academically and inspired me to pursue my passions. The librarians like Miss Susan, Miss Lisa, and now Miss Key were always kind and supportive, guiding me to new books and other resources that broadened my horizons. Today, I stand before you to emphasize the importance of our library to the community. It is not just a repository of books, but a vital hub for education, inspiration, and connection. The library plays a crucial role in shaping the minds of young people and supporting a desire for lifelong learning for all residents. I urge the City Council to continue supporting and investing in our library. By doing so, we encourage that future generations have access to the same opportunities and resources that have been so meaningful to me. The library is a cornerstone of our community, and its value cannot be measured in mere dollars and cents. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any other speaker appearances? Any other speaker appearances? Okay. Hearing none, we will go straight to our action items. And the first item, council, is the 2025 council meeting schedule. You should have that in your package. Just want to know if you had any questions related to that. Give you a couple more seconds to have a look. So at this time, is there a motion to approve the 2025 council meeting schedule?
Motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion properly second, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. All right, item D, boards and commissions, appointments and reappointments. And council, what I'd like to do is ask for nominations for vacancies that are listed. And what I would do is come back and do a consolidated as submitted. So if you have changes recommended, then what I would request you do is go ahead and I'm gonna go down the list. If there's no nominations and everybody that's already here will stay, just come back to that. So just stop me if you have a substitution, if you will. All right, so we'll start with the planning commission. Any will anyone like to offer a nomination there?
I would.
Okay.
Janice Smith to replace Martha Carey.
All right. Okay. Are there any other nominations for planning commission?
Yes, sir. I'd like to offer Mr. Tommy Parker to replace Martha Cadmus.
Tommy Parker. Okay.
And then, although the others were listed as yes, they would restay, I do also have Kimberly Brooks' recommendation for Mr. Denton.
Are there any other nominations for planning commission? All right, and council, I'm just gonna go a little extra here just to make sure that we're good. So at this time, is there a motion to close nominations for the planning commission?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion properly second, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, nominations for planning commission are closed. At this time, as it relates to Kim Brooks, replacing Randy Bentley on the planning commission. All in favor? All right. Once again, I'll have one vote for Kim Brooks replacing Randy Bentley. Any other votes or any other votes for Ms. Kim Brooks? Okay. All right. That nomination fails. All in favor of appointing Janice Smith to replace Martha Cadmus on the planning commission? All in favor? All right. With two for the same position, let me ask this. All in favor of Tommy Parker replacing Martha Cadmus on the commission? All right. All right. Mayor's going to vote with Tommy Parker. And receiving 4 votes to 3 to replace Martha Cadmus, Tommy Parker will be appointed to the planning commission to replace Martha Cadmus. All right. Council, as you know, for the library board, that seat has been eliminated. Chamber of Commerce, that's automatic. For the mayor ex officio, and also for the city manager. Boys and Girls Club, the mayor has historically remained in that seat, will remain there. And for the regional commission, board appointment. Alfred Brown has been reappointed. I'm assuming that there are no objections there from council. Historic Preservation Committee, Ginger Kimball has said that she will continue to stay on. Are there any nominations for Historic Preservation Committee? Okay. And Mitchell County Recreation Board, any nominations there?
Yes, sir. I'd like to nominate Ms. Brianna Silas.
What's the first name again? I'm sorry.
Brianna?
Silas,
Yes, sir.
and she will be replacing you.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations?
Yes. I'd like to nominate Steve Collins.
Steve Collins. Okay. All right. Any other nominations for the Recreation Board? Okay. At this time, council, is there a motion to close nominations for the Recreation Board?
So moved.
Sir. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. All right. All in favor of appointing Brianna Silas to the Recreation Board? Okay. The mayor will join with Brianna Silas. And all in favor of appointing Steve Collins to the board? All right, thank you, council. Appears that Brianna Silas has 4 votes, Councilman Collins 3. The result will be Brianna Silas being assigned to the Mitchell County Recreation Board, representing the city of Camilla. All right, thank you, council. The Mitchell County Health Board, good there. Unless there's any nominations there. All right. The Land Bank, the Camilla Mitchell County Land Bank, Councilman Dwayne Burley. As Mayor Pro Tem, your willingness to continue to serve.
Yes, I'm willing to, sir.
Okay. Any objections, council? All right. City of Camilla Development Authority, there's no vacancies there. The Camilla Tree Committee, I'm expiring, however, I'm willing to serve unless I will ask if there's any nominations. Okay. All right. Move on. But you also have Martha Caddis, who is expiring, that does not, she does not want to be reappointed. So we will need a nomination if you have it. Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Councilwoman Esseline Brady for the Tree Service Committee.
Second.
Okay. All right, any other nominations? All right, is there a motion to close nominations for the tree committee?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right, all opposed? All right, good deal. All right. And just like we got the record right again, everybody, I'm doing a little extra here this evening, but let me just make sure. Motion, we got a first and a second, I'm sorry. A motion and a second. All in favor of closing nominations for the tree committee? All right, thank you. All opposed, sorry. All right. All right. With no other nominations, Councilwoman Green, congratulations.
Thank you.
For the key tree committee. All right, zoning appeals board, Vic Warren needs to be replaced. Are there any nominations there?
Yes, sir. I'd like to nominate Ms. Scarlett Wimberly.
All right. Wimberly. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Esli Rainey.
Second.
Any other nominations? there a motion to close nominations for the zoning appeals board?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. All right, all in favor of Scarlett Wimberly being appointed to the zoning appeals board? All right. Mayor votes with Scarlett Wimberly. And all votes in favor of Councilwoman Doreen serving on the zoning appeals board. All right, that number is 4-3. The records show that Scarlett Wimberly will be appointed to the zoning appeals board. All right, the animal control appeals board. And before we get the nomination there, so council, just as a reminder, the city of Camilla now has its own animal control division. This board now is even more important than it was previously, because we are, or this board will be the due process arm, if you will, if there's any owners who gets caught up in any issues related to this. So it's a very important appointment. So with that, council, are there any nominations for the Animal Control Appeals Board? Yes, sir.
I would like to nominate Councilwoman Ethelene Doreen for the Animal Control Appeal Board.
Second.
Okay. All right. Any other nominations? All right, motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. With no other nominations, Councilwoman Green is appointed to the Animal Control Appeals Board. Thank you, Council. South Georgia Governmental Services Authority, Councilman Palmer. And Council, at this time, I serve on this board with Councilman Palmer. And I can tell you, he also chairs the SSGSA. And what I would tell you is we, as you know, with CNS Next and the transition that we're going through right now, we're doing some very special stuff as it relates to CNS Next. And I can tell you, having worked with Councilman Palmer on this board, I would ask, as mayor, maybe fairly inappropriate for me to make that nomination, so I will encourage members of this council to re-nominate, if you will, Councilmember Palmer to this board. We're going to need all of the consistency, institutional knowledge that he obviously has as we continue our transition there at SGGSA. So with that, council, I will ask, are there any nominations for, or the reappointment rather, of Councilman Palmer to the SGGSA board?
I'd like to nominate and reappoint Councilman Palmer to this board.
All right.
Second.
All right. Any other nominations? All right. Motion to close nominations for the SGGSA.
Motion vote.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Palmer is reappointed to the SGGSA board. Thank you, Council.
Mr. Mayor, thank the council for confidence. And doing this job, it's, you know, you serve over this well. It's a interesting position, to say the least.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the confidence.
Indeed. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. All right, we're down to the radio user board. We have one vacancy there. Council, are there any nominations? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to make a nomination of Councilman Oscar Naples to fill the radio board.
Second.
All right. Any other nominations? All right, motion to close nominations for the Radio Use Board.
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Maples has been appointed to the Radio Use Board. Okay. All right, we're down to Mayor Pro Tem. Currently, and yes, so we have Mayor Pro Tem right now. Mayor Pro Tem Burley, Councilman Burley currently serves in that position. At this time, council, I don't think we have any nominations for the Mayor Pro Tem position for 2025. Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Councilman Burley.
Second. All right. Any other nominations? Okay. And council, considering this is Mayor Pro Tem, what I would ask is Madam Clerk, this will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Breen,
Yes.
Councilman Burley,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Maples,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, council. All right, congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, sir. All right, council, as we discussed in our last meeting, the position of election superintendent and absentee ballot clerk is currently vacant, but I highly recommend that we take the next few weeks, if you will, but definitely addressing this in January. But if there's any nominations that you have, what I would ask is to put them in contact with the city clerk, just to get whatever basic information is required, so that with the actual nomination process, we'll be able to run through that, if you will, once we get to January. Is there any issues with that?
Do they have to be a resident of the city of Camilla or Mitchell County? Okay.
Okay. How to go with that? All right, good deal. All right, thank you. All right, and with that, looks like we've come to the end. Good, all right. So, but council, any questions related to any of the positions or nominations for the boards? Any of that?
I just have two notes that I made, Mr. Owens.
Yes, ma'am.
On the committee for the ethics board, if you would notice that everybody expires at the same time, I'm not sure, I wasn't here when that board was formed, but we might want to rethink it. It's always nice to keep someone with experience, and so it was just a thought that, you know, maybe that could be somebody stays and two go or something. And then the last thing, 7 of the 21 recommendations require a position of city manager, so I guess that y'all will consider dividing those up between, okay, a third of them.
Yeah,
So that's kind of a pretty important spot there, so.
indeed.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you. And then for some of these meetings, either Luke is there or Cheryl is there. And for the ethics board, my recollection that it had not been constituted, if you will, prior to when we did it. So ironically, it was pretty new. But to your point, I think it's a fair point. So I think if once we get into the new year, these expire in
In
May.
25, so it's just something to look at.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So moving on to item C, cemetery road improvements, phase 1 bid award. So council, as you know, we had this discussion last at the work session, and there was a bid that was placed, and what was recommended to us by our engineer, York and Associates Engineering, was that Buck Run Preserve LLC be awarded this bid for $179,000 $862. So at this time, council, what I would do, and if there's any discussion in the middle, we get a motion in a second. We can have a further discussion in the discussion period. But right now, is there a motion to award the bid for cemetery road improvements phase 1 to the Bug Run Preserve LLC of Sylvester, Georgia, for $179,862. And according to our CFO, we should be able to use T-SPOS funds to take care of this. So at this time, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion to properly second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, at this time, I'm gonna break up Nick and Michael, pass the roll, talk about the airport river fence project.
Mayor, council, good evening. All right, so before I start, I want to preface with what we're going to be talking about happened in 2018, 2019. I was not with the airport. Pass Road was not with the airport then. So these are things from the past before us. We do know that January 2019, there are some airport fencing perimeter plans that are on file. Those plans are not buildable. We found some issues. Number one, the plans were done without survey. Okay, we're not sure if we're going to be putting a fence up on our property or not. Actually, we know two areas are not our property. That's in this design. Secondly, we do know there are 3 areas of wetlands on the airport. These plans have no provisions of how to proceed with wetlands. What are we going to do about wildlife on the wetlands? How are we going to put a fence through it? There's nothing in these plans on that. So with that, since last week, there's been a few changes with GDOT, so I'll let Michael come up and go from there.
Thank you, Nick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council.
Yes, sir.
Quick recap of what we talked about a week ago tonight. We talked about the need to basically redesign the plans that Nick was just talking about for those various issues, and that includes getting a boundary survey so we know what property is owned by the city and what property isn't. And council voted to go ahead and front the money, $98,000 and some change for the survey and redesign, with the understanding that GDOT would be reimbursing 90% of that back to the city under the construction grant. Well, since then, we heard from GDOT, and the story's changed a little bit. GDOT has agreed to reimburse some of that money at 90%, but not all of it. The reason being, we're using federal funds to pay for this project. And the FAA will not pay for a design twice. And they look at it as they already paid for one design, the 2018-2019 design that Nick referenced, and they won't pay for a redesign. And GDOT unfortunately doesn't have a lot of flexibility with this. Their hands are tied as far because it's an FAA rule. What does that mean to the city? If we proceed as planned, get the boundary survey and do the full design to make sure that we're fencing only property owned by the city, that we're accounting for how do we fence going through potential wetland areas, all those different things. To use round numbers, let's say that the total cost of the survey and design is $95,000. Based on what GDOT said they will participate in, we think they will reimburse 90% of $65,000, leaving a $30,000 remainder that they see as 100% local costs. So that's the current story with GDOT. Now, I am using round numbers because they have not officially approved anything in terms of final design fees, but those are close. Those are in the ballpark.
So Michael, the original 98,000 or 100,000 or so, that number is still pretty constant or the same?
I will commit to the city that we're going to revisit our design fees and find out if there's any ways that we can do things a little more efficiently. I'll use one example. We had accounted for 2 people doing the site visit, field verify the survey that we receive, walk the perimeter of the airport, and just get more familiar with the site before we do the design. We can cut that to 1. It's not ideal, but you're still gonna get a good product. So what we're looking to do is, can we whittle that budget down to reduce the amount that's 100% local cost, while still giving you a good end product? Because we certainly don't want to sacrifice that.
Right. So again, if I'm understanding you correctly, even if you stay the same from what we talked about last week, it will not exceed $100,000.
Correct.
All right. And if I'm hearing you correctly, GDOT is saying that they'll reimburse potentially up to 90% of $60,000 or $65,000 or so, which is about $50,000 roughly.
That's correct.
So out of pocket for the city of Camilla is in the neighborhood of about $50,000.
That's the neighborhood.
Okay. All right. So council obviously at the work session, the idea was 100,000, and our cost would have been roughly $10,000, and that number is now 50,000. I just have 2 questions, and then I'll open it up for the council. Is this perimeter fencing required or needed or recommended for this airport?
I would say recommended and needed, but not required by the FAA.
Why do you recommend it?
For security purposes, first and foremost, to protect the assets of not only the city of Camilla, but folks who have aircraft stored there. Secondly, it's a safety issue. It helps prevent deer from getting on the property and other wildlife, which can always present safety issues. So for those 2 reasons, safety and security, it's why we recommend it, and GDOT certainly concurs with that recommendation.
Okay. And Nick, as it relates to your operation out there, do you concur?
Absolutely.
All right. So council, I'm going to yield and see if the council has any questions for Michael or Nick.
I've got a question, maybe for Nick.
Sure.
Is it going to be controlled access now, or is we just have a fence around it with the open gate at the road?
No, there will be no open gate. There will be, essentially a security gate with keypad. Ideally, every tenant will have their own individual 4 or 5-digit code. There will be a log of, this is when the gate opened by this person. It's accumulated. In a perfect world, we would also probably have cameras up watching who comes in and out also.
So are the cameras included in the cost and all this?
No, they are not.
So that's another 10,000.
Well, probably not. No, we could do it for a lot cheaper than that.
David, is on the fencing, insurance companies that insure planes and that kind of thing, require, security. They're not gonna let their clients park planes there.
No, I will tell you with 100% certainty, the airport loses business every year because we do not have a fence. I do get phone calls, hey, I don't see a fence, on the airport diagram, so we don't have that. I'm going off.
I know you mentioned about deers and wildlife, in there. How tall is this fence going to be?
Typically put in a 6-foot tall chain link fence with 3 strands of barbed wire above it.
So you think that's going to eliminate deer from jumping?
It will help.
It will help.
It will help. We will not guarantee it. We've all seen deer clear even higher. At some point, it becomes cost prohibitive to make it completely preventing them, but it certainly discourages it.
And, I have a question. Sure. I'm trying to think if perhaps the city could split the cost with those who are using the airport. How many people do we have in hangars? I mean, because you're talking about $50,000 here, and they might be willing to help out. And then it's not a total expense to the city, it's really an expense to both. But whoever's using it would certainly benefit from it as much as the city would.
Give me a second on the count.
Okay, that's fine. Is it 20, 30?
Let's just say 25-ish.
Okay, all right, so if we took the $50,000, half of it, would it be possible for you to just ask, would each of you be willing to pay $1,000?
That is up to council.
I mean, that's just a thought.
I don't
We're
know
not
that-
totally bearing the whole burden, and somebody that's, I mean, excuse my verbiage, but it's got some skin in the game.
I don't know that we can mandate that.
Right, but we could ask.
Sure.
I mean, and then it's not totally on the city. And it's really benefiting those who use it the most, so I mean, just a thought.
Yeah. I think where the concept is admirable, but I think in terms of if there are private citizens owning a fence.
I got you. I'm understood.
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
Point taken. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And another thing, I think it would eliminate the competitive, our surrounding cities, you offer the same service.
Same thing. Gotcha.
That it would, slow our competitors.
You are right, and you are right. Thank you.
We got no question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you think more of these jets that come in to hunt will stay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't a lot of those fly somewhere else and come back and pick up their gas?
They do. We do have aircraft that will drop off and either go to Albany, Thomasville. They did that for multiple reasons. Number one, rental car availability. I don't have anyone in Cabela who has rental car services for these pilots, okay? So Albany, Enterprise and Albany is having to bring a rental car down. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And, you know, we're kind of figuring out a game plan there. Second reason is, maybe you don't like this one, hotels. I'm not gonna talk bad about the local hotels.
Yes, sir.
But, some of these larger charter companies, the local hotels are in their policy, okay? And so, for instance, NetJets, FlexJet, they will allow their pilots to stay in the local hotels. Okay, reason being, there's a door from the outside, from the parking lot that goes right into the room. Okay, it's not a secure location. Again, I'm not knocking the local hotels, but that's where we live in.
And I'm not sure if that was a recommendation for, or a reason why we need some
Yes.
newer stuff around this way, but okay, good deal, point taken. Any other questions for Michael and Nick?
The cost.
Yes, sir. Sure.
The cost, and then will it be an increase after the fence put up? You cost some extra? But the price go up for the rental spot.
Oh, well, again, not telling the city their business, but certainly if you're providing a secure airfield, start charging rent fees or even make adjustments to hangar rent. You know, that I would see that fence as an amenity that you're offering to customers.
All right.
And we are on a time crunch for this, correct?
Yeah, well, I think it's more of, if I'm hearing Michael correctly, it's something that we, and again, this conversation, this part of it anyway, started almost 6 years ago. And it's something that is obviously needed. So time crunch more, I would say it's more as an operational need. And it's a can that I think that probably needs to stop getting kicked. if you will.
Well, I mean, didn't we say in the last meeting that those federal funds are only available for the next year? Isn't that what I heard?
Well, I think Michael and Nick being here tonight is saying that some of that information that he relayed last week isn't necessarily accurate this week, meaning that even though the funds are available, it's not at the amount
That it was.
that it was. So the question here, council, is pretty straightforward. We've already allocated $100,000 for this project. And I believe that the only contingency at that time is that if we pass the budget. It wasn't necessarily related to the reimbursement piece. So technically it has been approved, but I think for Luke and Cheryl to talk to staff to say that this is a go, they would need to know that you are good with paying an additional $40,000 that you didn't think that you had to pay a week ago, even though you approved it. I just think that they would just want our vote on record if that is good. And from my perspective, more security, especially at an airport that we own, is just the right thing to do for a host of reasons. So what I'm going to do, Council, I'm going to yield, and I just, are there any final thoughts? I'm going to ask the council to vote on it or ask for a motion anyway. Are there any other thoughts? Yes, sir.
That one thing.
Yes, sir.
At 98.5, which was the proposed budget, and then they'll cover 90% of 65%. You're looking at $31,500 without a reduction. If they are looking to audit and they get cheaper, top cost would be 31.5. Just to get a number on.
Sure, and again, and that's why I stuck with the 50,000, so 40 plus, I think you said 31, but 40 plus the 10 from last week. I think 50 is a pretty good, to your point, Luke. I think 50 puts us in some a good area, if you will.
Even at that, I think you're getting a good deal for a fence around the airport.
I would agree.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the project.
Second. All right, we have a motion been properly seconded. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, sir. 50,000. Michael, you started looking like, that number is gonna grow,
I'll stop showing up. Or I'll bring better news next time.
That's right. That's indeed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we're on to the city manager report, and I'll turn it over to Luke and Cheryl.
The only thing I have is an update on the team center. The renovation is complete. The roof was completed the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The interior drop ceiling was completed Friday, last Friday.
And that's the storm damage.
Storm damage.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Luke. Cheryl, anything?
I don't have anything on projects, but I do want to let y'all know that I signed y'all up to participate in the Christmas parade and it's Thursday night, 6:30, so. Where the float's gonna be, but I've asked Don to put it typically where we have it at every year.
Mr. Gass, you see how that works, right?
Y'all can try to get that, probably start at 6:30, but at least get on about 6:15, no later than 6:20, that will help.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a married man, that's very familiar.
Before we leave, I just have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you, to Michelle Ford. I emailed her the other day and said, when I grow up, I want to be as efficient as she is. I will email Cheryl something, and before I hit send, she's already emailed me the answer. She is super, super efficient, and I appreciate her and everybody at City Hall. And Luke, I want to tell everybody here, when you leave tonight and you drive down Broad Street, if you don't get a little Christmas magic, then something's wrong with you. But I would like to commend you and your staff because Broad Street is beautiful. But thank you to both of y'all. We are real lucky to have you.
Thank electric department, you get most of that credit.
Well, you know where it goes. I just want to tell you that it's mighty pretty. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, any other comments? Cheryl Blue? All right, council and for the city, I'll be extremely brief, I mean, real brief. Here's what I would like for our awesome citizens to do. I want you to stay encouraged. It is the holiday season. There's a lot obviously happening in the city, from left to right, some in the middle. But the reality is, regardless, good, bad, or indifferent, what I'm asking the citizens of this city to do is to stay encouraged. And with that, everybody, have a Merry Christmas and an awesome New Year. Council, it appears we have reached the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Madam Attorney.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, we were having a great time. We're really enjoying
I think he has a whole lot of things. Figure it out.
Hey, that was great.
my
Really
friend.
enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm the planning manager at BCA.
Oh, really? Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you. Listen, I was a little surprised when you found out. I was like, so that's Julie, you all, this is as well as the SDS, and so we're strategies. And,